Hi everyone, I'm afraid you've only got me today because our lovely Abs is out and about. He's on holiday in India, he's on a crafting holiday. So that unfortunately means there'll be no French translation because my French is definitely not up to doing that. So I apologise to all of our French viewers. I'll try and talk slowly so you can follow, but unfortunately my French isn't up to that. Let's say hello to everyone. And we've got a few questions already, I notice. Someone was asking if we're going to be doing these sort of at a regular time each week. We're not, because with both Abs, Janet and I, we're all kind of, you know, we've all got different schedules, so we'll try and fit one in every week for you, but it might vary. We'll probably try and stick to Tuesdays, but it might vary in the times, but we'll always give you plenty of notice. The other thing is, if you haven't done so already, if you put the word live in the comments, you'll be notified when we're going to go live. We usually put a sort of 15-minute warning for you. So if you do that, then hopefully you won't miss us. But of course, you can always watch on catch up. And today I'm going to do a couple of demos. We're going to have a sneak peek at some of the Christmas stamps, dies. We've got some lovely ephemera. And I'm going to be on Hobby Maker this Thursday with a lot of them, so you're getting a sneak preview. For those of you that might be new to this, I'll explain as well how this works. If you see an item you want to buy, if you just type in the comments shop and then the item number, so you would put shop and then S if it's stamps and then the number of the stamp set, which for the first one we're going to look at is 1223. I've got lovely Jess in my ear and she's going to try and keep up with what we're doing, and she'll put it up as she has done just there so you can see the code that you need. So if you keep an eye on that yellow box, it will show you all the products that I'm using and tell you what the code is. I know lots of you last time missed out the S bit, you just put shop and the number, but you do need to put S if it's stamps, D if it's dies, E if it's ephemera, and then the number. But it will pop up. Jess will pop it up for you, and then that will take you to the website, and you can kind of put it in your basket and then come back and watch. Thanks, Diana. Hello, Lorraine. How to get a message on Messenger? Well, I can see the messages that you're typing on here, and I'm trying to follow. So let's see what other comments we've got. Mary Palmer, Linda, all from Australia. Margaret, hi Margaret. Stephanie, and you. Oh, hi Eunice. Lisa, I've answered your questions. The other thing, I have some very exciting things to tell you about. There is a promo on at the moment on the website. If you spend over £45, you will get a free gift. If you spend over £79, you're going to get 2 free gifts. And if you spend £109, you will get 3 free gifts. You don't have to do anything. It ends at midnight tomorrow night. So, you know, you might want to do it soon. But you don't have to do anything. It just puts it on for you when you check out. So that's a nice little promotion. I'll try and remember to mention it again at the end. I'll say a few more hellos and then I'm going to flip my camera around and we'll do some demos. If you've got any questions at all, I'll try and keep an eye on them as I go. Jess will hopefully pick it up as well if there's anything I miss. But and of course I'll always check back after the live. I'll have a look at the comments in case I've missed anything. And I'll catch you all up on anything. Hi Tina, hi Angela, hi Julie, hi Lizada. Puerto Rico, oh I bet you're in more sunshine than we are here. It's so grey. I've got all my big lights on in this room because it's so gloomy. Actually I should say I'm in my craft shed at the moment. I'm not down with Abs in London today. We thought we'd give it a go from doing it from home, which you might have to bear with me because technology is definitely not my strong point, but we managed to make it on thanks to Jess. Actually, I have to say a huge thank you to Jess because she's been fantastic getting this all set up, because me and technology, not great. So yes. Hi Lynn, hi Julie. Perfect. Well, I think we've got quite a few of you on now, so I'm going to switch my camera around. You might end up looking at my ceiling or my hands for a second just while I switch you over, so bear with me, and I'll get that switched over. So hopefully I can do this without cutting you all off. Jess will be well impressed with me if I do that. There we go. I'll just take you out of this holder, and then hopefully I'll pop you in here without touching any of the buttons on my phone. And just adjust. Sorry if I'm making you feel sick. While we get that adjusted. Perfect. Just move my little strip. I put tape on my mat so I knew where to put my hands. So, but of course, where I've moved that, just perfect. I'll just actually move that a little smidge. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Now I know where to put my hands. Thank you. Right. So let's look at what we're going to use for the first demo. I'm going to do a lovely Christmas card. And the first thing that I've used is this one. It's called Angelic Dear Guardians. Love this set. You've got sort of everything here because, you know, depending on what you're doing, you quite often need different scales, don't you? We've got this lovely large deer. I've partly coloured one in because I thought we can finish him off together. But he's a nice good size. But then you've got next size down. And then you've got even smaller and a really tiny one, which is great because depending on what sort of scene you're building, you might need different sizes. You know, the two large ones pretty much take up a card on their own. But if you just want something in the background, or you're doing a tag, you might want the smaller one. So you've kind of got a deer for every type of project that you're going to need. And then we've got all these lovely extras. We've got this sack of presents. We've got these lovely little gnomes. This one with a tree. We've got a little carol singer here. Got some angels. You've even got little sort of scene builders. So really fabulous set. So we're going to be using that one first. And I've coloured in the little one already. And I thought we'll finish off this one. And then we can build a bit of a scene. We'll start with that and then I'll show you the other products as I use them. So I've been using my watercolour distress. These are also on the website and these are quite versatile. So they come in a sort of mix of colours. So you can buy one set and kind of have the rainbow within one set. But I've reorganised mine. You can see, for example, this is set 5. You do in each set get kind of a good mix of colours. But because I've got all 6 sets, I've reordered mine and I've kind of put all my browns together. Hi, Karen. So I would recommend doing it as I've done. If you're going to get all 6 sets, it just makes it easier for you if you can kind of go straight to the colours that you're using for a project. So I'm going to follow the same sort of colouring as I've done on the smaller one for this large one. So I think we'll have a bit of a kind of turquoise. So we'll have a bit of salvage patina. Now with these, you literally can dip them in your water. There's no wood to them. Although this looks like wood, it's actually just paper around the edge. So you can literally dip them in your water to get them nice and sort of activated, and then you can paint with them. I've got a bit of tissue here just to make sure I don't have too much on my brush. And the colours are really nice and vibrant, and they're just really nice to work with. The other thing I like about them being in pencil form is they're really portable. So they're a good one to sort of take out and about with you if you like to do your colouring. You know, if you like to take crafting supplies on holiday with you or something like that, which I do, then these are great for that because you're not having to transport sort of paints or anything like that might spill in your luggage, which wouldn't be good. So we'll do his antlers next. So again, I'm just going to dip this in. Hi, Gillian. I'm trying to keep an eye out the corner of my eye on the comments. So And in case you missed it, the set I'm using is, so you'd want shop S1223 for this lovely reindeer set. So I'm going to do the antlers in brown, and I've already fussy cut these. Actually, Karen's here on the live, and Karen was at I do a monthly card class locally. We had one on Saturday, and while they were all crafting away doing Christmas projects, I had a big pile of these stamped images, and I was fussy cutting all day. So there's my antlers, and I'm kind of going to follow similar to this one. So, I need the brown, don't I, for his hooves as well while I've got the brown out. So we'll just do his brown hooves like so. Yeah, I do like this sort of colouring. I find it quite relaxing. And let's have a bit of pink for this little thing around his neck, his little collar. So I'm going to go over all of this, and then I can always do the little details on it over the top with a different colour. I'll do the bells. Let's do a bit stronger. I'll do the bells in a gold. Lynn, what paintbrushes? I do use a bit of a mix. This one is a brand called Golden Maple. I'm not really loyal to any particular paintbrush brand. I've got a real mix. The Ranger ones are quite good. They do. I've got my paintbrushes just here, actually. I'll show you. I have a huge big pot right next to my desk. And I use, the Golden Maple ones, that you can find them on their website. These are also quite good. De La Rowney Graduate. They're pretty inexpensive, but they're quite good. I find if you're doing watercolouring, you don't necessarily need the most expensive brushes. The other ones that they sell on Hobby Maker are Himi. Those are great brushes. I use a lot of the Himi brushes. So, but yeah, this particular one has got Golden Maple. So we'll do a little bit of the detail. We'll maybe do some of these dots in a pink. A couple of those. That one there. And then we want yellow for the bells, so we could do that next. So nice squeezed lemonade. That's a nice bright cheerful yellow. So we'll do the bells. There we go. And then we'll maybe do the little detail inside there and a couple of the dots. Let's do this star here in yellow as well. There we go. And we definitely need a green, don't we? Because he's got a little tree there. So let's flip to the green. Let's do forest moss. There we go. The other thing is, because these are watercolours, they're really forgiving. And it does kind of make them mistake proof, because if you do make any mistakes, it's really easy to just dab off the colour. You can see while I was talking, I got a bit of pink on his leg there. If you wet it, you can lift the colour. See, I'm such a messy crafter here. Let me grab a wipe. It's very easy, if you do make a mistake, to just put some clean water where you may have got a colour, and then you can dab it and it will lift it a bit. So they're a good starting point if you're relatively new to sort of colouring and you're still at the practicing stage. I think they're a great thing to start with, because they are very forgiving and they are very easy to use. So I'm going to go back to the yellow. Hi Bernadette. Hi Carol, bonjour. And I've missed some little golden bells here. There we go. And we've just got a few dots to do, so I might bring in a different colour for those. Let's bring in a nice orange. There we go. And we'll just do a few dots, these last few, and then that's him coloured. And then I'm going to show you what else I've coloured already. And my kind of thinking for putting this into a card. So let's pop those out the way. Just clean my glass mat. Well, I feel a bit less nervous on my craft table than I did last week when I was on Abs's nice table that I was scared to death of wrecking. So I've got my deer, and I thought for a card I wanted to create like a scene. So I've got my card blank, and I've used a die, one of the die sets. Let me bring it in and show you. It's called Woodland Window, and it's number 41. So this, if you wanted to buy it, would be shop D41. Jess will put the details up for you. I wanted something that would be a good size for a card front, and I've cut the outer layer in black. I'll show you. You get a really lovely selection in here. So you've got your outside piece, and then you've got your sort of mat and layer basically, but then you also get some butterflies, you've got some foliage. So as well as being like your card base or your mats and layers, you have actually got some focal points as well. So these sets that Abs does are just such good value. I would urge you to start collecting them, because it's always going to be your starting point with a card. So that's number 41. So the first thing I can do is pop this black layer onto my card front, because I'm not going to do anything with that. So that can go straight on. So I'm just going to pop a bit of double-sided tape on the back of that. The good thing about being in my own shed is that I also don't have to worry that I've forgotten anything, which is always my worry. Like when I go to the TV studios or off to see Abs, I have to try and remember all the things, whereas here I've got everything in this room, so I can't forget anything. So I'm going to pop that on there. And then I've cut two of the inner piece. One is going to be my kind of background, but the other one I'm going to use to create a sort of snowy ground. So just keeping an eye on the comments. So I'm going to create a scene. So with this first one, I want to add some colour to it. And I'm going to bring in a couple of oxide ink pads. I've got chipped sapphire and tumbled glass. So I'm going to create almost like a sky here. So just behind me, I've got some blending brushes. So I'm going to start with the tumbled glass and just do a nice light blue. You could use oxide inks as well as distress inks as well as distress oxides. Either would work, but I do find with the oxide inks you get a smoother blend, so they're kind of quicker to get the colour down. So I'm going to go all over with the light blue. I'm not going to worry about the bottom here, because I'm going to create my own kind of snowy scene. So I'm going to get a good layer of the light blue. So that's going to be my sky. And then just for a little bit of drama, Sally, does this fit in a 6-inch cutting machine? Yes, this one does. Out of the sort of mat and layering sets as such, there's only a couple of the circles, the outer part of the circle of a couple of them, you need an A4 machine, but the majority, certainly this one, will go through an A5 machine. So I'm just putting a little bit of the dark at the top, just for a little bit of drama. Bernadette, didn't realise you're on your own. Yes, Abs is in India having a lovely, he's on a crafting holiday, which I'm most jealous about. So yes, so you've just got me. So unfortunately no French, I'm afraid. I definitely don't know enough French to give you any sort of commentary of what I'm doing. I haven't done any French since I was at school. Spanish I can do a bit. I did live in Spain for a while, but French, no. So I've got my sky, and then do you remember I cut another piece, because what I want to do is tear this just randomly so that I've got my snowy ground. Now you can flip it. I'm keeping the round. The reason I've cut the die to do it is so that I've got the nice rounded edge so I can layer it. Now if I wanted to, I could also maybe go sort of diagonally like so to have another piece in the background slightly higher. So I won't stick those down yet, because what I'm going to do is think about my scene. So I've got my matte layer there. This is going to go like so. And I'm going to work out where to put my things before I stick these down, in case I decide they're too high and I want to cut them anymore. So I've got my 2 reindeer, which could kind of be in the foreground. And then I've used another stamp set, which I'm going to show you. And I have already coloured these. In fact, we did them last week on the Live with Abs. We did these. So this is Twinkling Pines, and it's 1217, and you get these 3 fabulous trees in this set. It's a lovely stamp set, so useful, great on their own just for a card front, but I thought it would be quite nice with my reindeer to have some trees in the background, and I could tuck these kind of into the snow a little bit. Now I think I want maybe my snow a bit less high, if that makes sense. This is why don't stick your snow down. I think I want it a little bit further down. Now this one I can just slide down. So I think I'm happy with how that's going to go. So let's start to assemble this. Now before I put this first piece on, I am going to give it a little spritz with water, just to give a look of a night sky. So I'm going to let that sit just for a second, and then I'm going to come in with my kitchen towel, and it's just going to lift some of that ink, but it's going to give that sort of mottly look, like I've got like a starry sky. You can go in with white splatters as well if you want it to look sort of snowy. That would be nice. So let's pop this on like so, just with some double-sided tape, and then hi Maria, Puerto Rico. Oh Carol, have you been to India as well? Yes, I did go to India a few years ago, but it was a work trip. But I'd love to do what Abs is doing and go on a sort of crafty holiday. There we go. So that's going to be my background. And then my snowy pieces. Yeah, that looks better. So we can do this first one. I'm going to do these with glue just in case I want to move them around a little bit. So is anyone else crafting today? I've been crafting all morning actually, because I'm back on Hobby Maker on Thursday. I've been making a start. Well, I've been trying to get my prep finished for that. I'm nearly there. I think I've just got 2 more cards to make this evening, and then I'm all good to go. There we go. So that's my snow, and this is such a quick way to create a snow drift for your cards. So I've got my 2 little reindeers. Now if you want to, you can add any sort of sparkly paste kind of thing to the snow, and I haven't glued, just in case, I haven't glued kind of up to the top here, so if I want to tuck any of these in I can. And I'm going to have a little look. I think maybe Might tuck one of the trees just slightly, like that. And then, no, I think we'll have this one behind. Yeah, I think we'll have the big one there behind, and then this one maybe in between the two reindeer. Yeah, that's it. So I'm going to glue this one down. Oh, Carol, you've got a new die cutting machine. I've been using my Switch this morning, actually. It's funny because I always just, obviously I work for Sizzix as well, so I'm always using Sizzix machines, but I generally use a manual machine just because it's quicker. But I tend to use just the standard size Big Shot. That's what sort of lives on my desk. But because some of Abs's dies are a bit bigger, I have been using my Switch, and I know he's got the black Switch, and I know he loves that. But yeah, I've always been more of a manual machine. Oh, Mary, you're doing your memory decks. I absolutely loved seeing all of the inspiration for those memory decks. They're so clever. So a little tree can go here in between the two of them. Could even tuck it a little bit under that snow look, so it looks like it's on the ground. And then we'll pop this one here. There we go. And we'll pop him there. And we've got a finished card. So that's not bad, is it? Half an hour in and we've got one card done. So I'll just refresh on the products I used, just in case any of you come in late and you want to know. So the first thing I used was the die set 41 Woodland Window. So that would be shop D41. I used the fabulous Angelic Dear Guardian stamp set. So that's 1223. So that would be shop S1223. And we also used the Christmas trees, which is called Twinkling Pines, and that's 1217. So that would be shop S1217. So that's what we've used for that one. And of course, I did also use some oxide ink pads, and I used some distress watercolour pencils. So that's everything I've used for that one. But I have got another demo for you. I thought we'll squeeze in two. And I will remind you before I get into the second demo, in case you've come in after the beginning, there's also a promo on the AALL&Create website. If you spend £45, you get one free gift. If you spend £79 or more, you get 2 free gifts. And if you spend £109, you will get 3 free gifts. That offer ends at midnight tomorrow, so you've only got a day or so to take that one up. But yeah, that's very exciting. So shall we do another demo? So let's pop that finished one out of the way, and I'll show you what I'm going to use for this one. These are just if you have anyone in your family that's a cat lover, then you're going to love this ephemera. So we're going to create a card with let's talk about the ephemera first, because it's just so cute. This is number 71 and it's called Winter Whiskers. So that would be shop E71. And you've got these fantastic cats. I'll tip them out and show you. Actually, it does show you on the packaging. Let's tip all of these out. They are just adorable. There is a dog version as well. You'll see them all on Hobby Maker this week. So you've got a really nice mix. Some of them are just the heads. Some of them are the full cat. So you can kind of, pop them where you want on a project. But they're just adorable. Lots of them have got like little bows, little scarves, little Santa hats. Look at this one with the holly. So they're really good fun. So yeah, if you've got any friends that are cat lovers, you can probably find one in here that kind of looks like their cat, because you've got a really nice mix of different you've got tabbies and all the different looks. Really cute, and different sizes as well, so depending on where you're popping them on your project, Now I've got one ready for mine actually. So I've picked out for my project, we're going to use this one with this lovely little green bow. So I've got that ready. So let's pop those back on there. Lots in this pack as well. You get 57, so plenty to play with. Great value for money actually, if you think about the fact that, you know, you've got 57 there, if you're potentially making 57 cards. So let's pop those out the way. Pop those behind me so I don't knock them all over the place. So I thought we'd create a card. So the next thing I'm going to use is another one of the fantastic sort of, I call them basic, but you sort of background dies. So I'm using this one, which is a tag. It's called Intricate Tags and it's number 29. So this would be shop D29. And that will take you straight to the website link to buy it. This is great, this one, because you get the tag, and I have already cut my tag. I've cut the background piece from a nice green, and the reason I did that is because it will go nicely with the green that I've picked on my cat. And then I've used a sort of cream. This is more of an off-white than a white for my sort of background, and we'll probably add a bit of ink to this, a bit of colour to sort of jazz it up a bit. But you've also got some really useful little tags and elements. You've got hearts and stars, that lovely little reinforcer. So if you actually want to make this into a tag, you can. So this is a really useful set. So we're going to use that. And then we are going to use a stamp set. And I have already stamped it, but we're going to colour in just the television. So this is called Retro Treasures and it's number 1219. So this would be shop S1219. And what I've done is I've stamped it onto watercolour card and I've already coloured in, I fussy cut it all. This is another thing that I was fussy cutting while I was doing my class on Saturday. You've got the television and then you've got these fabulous presents that can be sitting on top. So I thought this would be a nice sort of background behind my little kitten. So we'll colour in the TV and then we can start to put it all together. So for now, I'll put that aside. We'll ink that up once we've got the TV coloured in. I'll leave that there actually just so you can see the number if anyone's coming in late. So when I get Abs's stamps, I generally kind of follow the colouring on the packaging because it's usually, you know, Abs is great at choosing colours and his team. So I tend to just follow their lead. So let's start with the screen. And we'll go with a nice kind of light blue, maybe tumbled glass. Yeah, tumbled glass. So again, I'm going to use my distress watercolour pencils and I'm literally going to dip that in. Now I could probably go with a slightly bigger brush actually, because this is quite a large area. So I'm just going to pick up some of that colour with my brush and just do a little wash of colour across the screen. And you can see if you look at the packaging, it's kind of a bit mottled, so don't go for perfection, just go and I would say if you've got little white, you know, bit of white area, don't worry about it. Because it's almost like a reflection really. So, and you can always go a bit darker in areas. The pencil I'm using, if anyone's interested in the colour, is Tumbled Glass. This is a good light blue. This is kind of my go-to for skies and that kind of thing. And you can see I've got a little bit of pink there where it's obviously touched another pencil. And I'm happy with that because it just adds to the speckled look. If you weren't, of course, I could wet that and dab it off a little bit. So if you want to tone it down a little bit, take a bit of that pink off, you can do. You can see I've got a bit of pink on my pencil. So we'll pop that all over and I'm happy with that. And then I can see Abs has kind of gone round with a slightly darker blue. So let's go with Salty Ocean. Actually, I'll just dip that straight in. And we'll just do a bit of colour around the edge with this one. Like so. And I can see around the bottom he's gone with more of a sort of grey blue, so I'm going to follow his sort of lead. So he's got a nice bright blue down the sides, and then it kind of goes more into a grey. So, and you'll notice I'm really not trying to be perfect here. I'm going for quite a loose look. I'm sometimes going in with quite a bit of water. Sometimes the colour's stronger because I want it to look watercoloured. I don't want it to look sort of like I've printed it. You know, you want the look of watercolour really. Now along the bottom that kind of looks almost like a greeny blue. So I think let's bring in a bit of Rustic Wilderness, and I'm going to go light with this because this is quite a dark green. I'm just going to add a touch of it because it'll mix with that blue and give me a kind of in-between shade. There we go, perfect. Which kind of replicates the packaging, sort of, roughly. And then I'm going to take this along this bottom panel a bit as well. And I can see, while I've got my blue out, let's look at where else we've got blue. He's got blue kind of above this little piece here, so we'll go in there, do those. And then that main panel, I think we need to do a different blue again. Let's go with, it's quite a dark blue, isn't it? Let's go with Faded Jeans for this panel here. This is quite a strong blue. So we can pop that there. I love the retro feel of this. It's a lovely design. There we go. And have we got any more blue? I think that's all of it. So now we need some red, don't we? And then the buttons are like a turquoisey colour. So shall we do the buttons actually while I've got my blues in front of me? It's almost like a teal, isn't it? So let's go with Mermaid Lagoon for that button. Then we've just got the red to go. I think that's, so yeah, we'll do the button in that nice teal. And these. And then we'll do that one as well. Then the rest is red by the looks of it. Oh, and we've got a bit of yellow sort of there. So let's pop those back and find, so we want a bit of yellow, or it's almost like a sort of a beige. So let's go with Scattered Straw. I'll try and say the names for you as I go, so if you get this stamp and you want to have a go yourself. So we'll do Scattered Straw over those. And then everything else is going to be in a red, so we've got to pick a good kind of retro red, don't we? Let's have a look. It's a real red, isn't it? I think maybe Candied Apple is the kind of truest. It's almost an orange. It's a warm red. And I think I'll go with my slightly bigger brush for this because it's quite a lot to colour. Yeah, that's a nice proper red. Now, generally, I would colour before fussy cutting. But in this case, I was fussy cutting while I was at my class the other day. So just in case you're wondering, because I'm sure most of you probably colour before cutting. There we go. And it will look kind of more realistic if I come back in with a bit more colour here and there, just so that I've got a bit of variation. There we go. I'm happy with that. Oh, and that little panel needs to be red as well. Let's switch to my more detailed brush for that, because I've got to go around those buttons. There we go. There's my TV all done. Of course, this would be perfect if you wanted to personalise a card, because you could put a little picture in there if you wanted to. You could get a photo printed to fit and cut it out and put it behind, which would be quite fun. Right, let's move that water because I'm liable to knock it over. And I'll move this stamp set out of the way. So let's come back to our card and think about how this is all going to fit together. So I've got a card blank that I cut to size from Craft Card, and that back layer can go on there. So as before, I can pop that on because I know I don't need to do anything extra with that. That's just going to stay as it is. But I'm going to add some colour to the background piece. So I've cut this from cream, and I think we're going to have the television here with the presents on top, like so. And then my little kitty cat is going to kind of sit. And I've got room here to put a sentiment in if I wanted to put like a Christmas sentiment or something. But this is looking a bit dull. So I'm going to add a bit of colour to this background piece. So let's bring that in. Pop those out the way. And I'm going to go for some quite bright colours, I think. So we've got Scattered Straw, Spiced Marmalade and Picked Raspberry. I thought we'll go for some warm colours. Because I've got a lot of green, I've kind of followed the rainbow really. So it would be, you know, pink, orange, yellow, green. So I tend to think about a rainbow as I'm working. And like before, I'm just going to come in with some brushes. So let's grab the right colours. And I'm talking about green, but I haven't actually got green. I want pink. So let's have a pink one. Yes, Jess was just saying in my ear, we've got lots of cat fans, which is good, isn't it? Let us know, are you a cat or a dog person? I'm actually more of a dog person, because I used to be a dog trainer many years ago. I used to train security dogs. So, however, I have had cats as well. We had a ragdoll cat called Callie for years. She lived to be about 18. And my goodness, she was in control in our house. She ruled the roost. I had a German Shepherd at the same time as Callie, and he was terrified of her. She was the boss. So I would say, although I love both, I would say I am more of a dog person. So Margaret's a dog person too. And if you are a dog person and you've got dogs, let us know what breed you've got, because I really miss having a dog. I can't have a dog because, well, my partner's allergic to them, and cats. So that's one thing. But also with the work I do, I'm kind of away a lot and it just wouldn't be fair, but I would love to have another dog. My sister's got a beautiful golden cocker spaniel called Orla. So at least I've got a dog I can borrow. So I do quite often. Well, my sister ropes me in quite regularly to look after Orla. So at least I've got a dog I can borrow. Carol doesn't mind. Oh, Margaret, you had German Shepherds as well. Yeah, German Shepherds are my absolute all-time favourite. Oh, Cocker Spaniel, Sally. What colour's your Cocker Spaniel? I went with my sister actually when she chose hers. And that was great fun. I was very tempted to get one myself, I've got to say. I'm just going to go. I've decided, just want to do the edges a little bit with the pink. Oh, a Samoyed and a Bichon Poodle mix. Oh, that's an interesting mix. There we go. So let's bring this back in. And we'll pop that there. And yeah, I think that's kind of brightened it up and made it more fun. Let's wipe this ink off here first, because I am terrible at getting it everywhere. And I think I might put this layer, excuse me reaching across, on some foam pads. Tracy, oh yes. Tracy, dogs. Tracy's got literally, well, very literally, she has a farm. So Tracy's got dogs, cats, alpacas, children. I really need to go and visit Tracy. We keep talking about it, but I would love to see all of Tracy's alpacas. If you don't know Tracy, she also does shows on Hobby Maker, and she is a fantastic designer as well. And a lot of her stamps are featuring animals, so you definitely need to check her out. So let's pop that on the background. And I love those warm colours against the green. And then my little TV, I think I'm going to put that on foam pads as well. So that it's raised up a little bit. So I'll just pop a bit of foam tape on the back of that. Sheila, another German Shepherd. Oh, black, the silver. Oh, lovely. Yeah, Cocker Spaniels, very full of energy, aren't they? My sister sent me a video last night, actually, of all her leaping around the house. There we go. So I'm going to put my TV there. And then my presents can pop kind of on top. And if I glue those, then it will give the illusion of them sitting on top, because the TV will be slightly higher, slightly raised. So... and you can see with the presents, and this is why I went for such a wacky colour for the background, because the presents have pretty much got the whole rainbow going on there. So I could have gone really with anything on the background and it would have all tied in. And then my little kitty cat, he's going to look so cute here. Now, because I've put this on foam pads and he's going to overlap, what I'm going to do is just put a little foam pad at the bottom here so that he's at the same height. And I'm just going to grab, rather than use my tape, I'm just going to use a little pad, and then I can put a bit of glue just on the back of his head, and we can sit him there. I'm going to have him slightly coming off the edge so that he's very much sitting in the foreground in front of the telly. So there we go. And again, you've got room to put, you could put a sentiment on the TV if you wanted to. You could have stamped something on there, or I've got space here to kind of put some ephemera or a sentiment. So that's my second demo. Let me run you through the products I used, just in case you've come in late and are catching up. So the tag set I used to create the background is Intrica Tags, which is number 29. So that would be shop D29. The stamp set we used is Retro Treasures, which is 1219. So that would be shop S 1219. And then my little kitty cat, let's grab that packaging. That was Winter Whiskers, which is number 71. So that would be shop E71. So that's all the products I've used. And let me bring in the card we did earlier. If you're coming in late, we've already done another card, so you can always watch back. This live will be available to watch afterwards. You can also shop afterwards. It's not just while we're live. Those codes will work if you just type in the comment at any point. If you haven't done so already, put the word live in the comments to be notified. Let me switch my camera back actually so you can see me while I finish up. Now again, I'll try and not to cut you off while I put this in my little holder thing. There we go. Jess would kill me if we got to this stage of the thing and then I cut everyone off. So I hope you've enjoyed those demos. Just a reminder, I'm back at Hobby Maker this Thursday with these stamps and dies plus some more. We've got some washi tapes as well, so lots of things coming up on Thursday as well. Don't forget the promo on the website, which is £45. Spend £45, you get 1 free gift. Spend £79, you get 2, and spend £109, you get 3 free gifts. And that ends at midnight tomorrow. We will put in the group here when we're going to go live next. Abs is away next week, so we'll probably have something for you, either myself or Janet. We'll work something out for you, and we'll let you know. As I say, I know someone asked earlier about will it be a set day. We're kind of loosely aiming to do Tuesdays, but obviously with TV and other things going on, it might vary a little bit, so just keep an eye on the group, because we'll always give you plenty of warning. And if you type live in the comments, you'll get notified when we're going to go live, so you won't miss us. But thanks ever so much for watching today, and I'll see you on Thursday on Hobby Maker.